Welcome back to day 2 of Experiencing Ergoline. We hope you enjoyed Bailey Johnson's presentation from Devoted Creations about their 2021 product launch, and congratulations to the winner of that full lineup. That's so exciting. We have some more interesting things planned for you throughout the rest of this afternoon, as well as a panel discussion with industry experts. But before we get ready to move into a more open discussion about this year and about 2020, I wanted to take you through some of what we're seeing as consumer responses as well as trends in the industry in 2020. And I'm afraid to say post-pandemic, right? We all thought we would be post-pandemic by now. For some of us, we're still mid-pandemic. Others, it's hard to tell. And we've really had the opportunity to navigate a high level of uncertainty this year, not only in the business climate, but also in the political climate, and for some of us, even in our personal lives. So I want to talk a little bit more about what we really believe consumers are understanding and responding to over the last 7 or 8 months, as well as what we think the long-term outlook will be when it comes to structuring our business and being strategically positioned to not just capitalize, but to serve our customers better in the future. We have all been through some very uncomfortable transitions this year. I have, for the first time in the last decade, spent more time in my home than I think the last 10 years combined. And many of you, like me, are used to being very busy. We're used to being on the road. We're used to a fast-paced life, always looking for the next challenge. When this year, the challenge was to be still. And let me tell you, I don't like it any more than you do. But how do we move forward? How can we help our customers move forward and also our employees to be better positioned so that they can address customer needs out there in the marketplace? I want to take you through a few things that we've discovered over the last months, and also make you aware that all of the resources that I will be referencing throughout this next 20-minute presentation will be available on our website under the Resources tab. That's www.jkproducts.us. That way, you don't just have to take my word for it. These are shareable resources that we think will be useful to you, either for your own social media, your employees, or even just your own education and peace of mind. So right now, out in the marketplace, what are customers really looking for from us? And that's changed a little bit over the last 6 months, and it continues to evolve as this pandemic continues, and as we continue to adjust to it out in the marketplace. One of the first things that's been really interesting, and even from the middle of March forward, customers are very interested to know what your specific plans are when it comes to cleaning, disinfecting, and protecting them while they visit your business location. I don't really care, and unfortunately it's not our job to care how our customers feel politically about the pandemic. Do they believe it's real? Do they believe it's fake? It really doesn't matter. We want your customers to be comfortable walking through your doors. And we know that they are on the lookout to see whether or not you're taking their health and safety seriously. Like I mentioned yesterday, never have we ever been more aware of how to clean and sanitize a piece of tanning equipment, right? The same is true for a lot of the surfaces or even operational processes in your salon. But I really encourage you to not only partake in measures that make your customers feel more comfortable, but make those measures public. If you've put up acrylic screens, if you have contactless payment, if you're sanitizing every hour, whatever it is that you are doing, tell your customers that so that they have peace of mind before they ever contact you again, right? I can tell you from my perspective, there are many people sitting at home on social media watching to see what you're doing to get ready to reopen. That's true of restaurants, that's true of tanning salons, that's true of bars, that's true of any space that we put ourselves closer to the public, or how you make people more comfortable coming back into your location. Clearly state what you're doing. We've made a lot of resources freely available to you on our website as well, under our COVID response resources. If you don't know where to start, or if you haven't already put a plan together, start now, right? Put your guidelines on your website. Put your guidelines on your social media. We have floor stickers that you can print out. We have reopening procedures that you can be a part of, right? We thought we were on the other side of reopening. Some of us might not be. You might be going through this process again. So please do reach out and take a look at those resources, or use them as a jumping off point to create your own, to get your own juices flowing. We really hope that this is one of the only times in our at least professional lifetimes that we'll walk back into our businesses after they've been closed for a few weeks or closed for a period of time. This is a really unique circumstance that we find ourselves in. So let your customers walk through that process with you. Let them see a video of you cleaning the salon, sanitizing a bed, talking about Lucasol or the cleaners that you're using that are antibacterial, antiviral, right? It's important that they understand that you know what you're doing from a cleaning and sanitation perspective, right? You're the expert, and you're the one who can make your customer feel more comfortable when they're coming back to see you. Also, emphasize words that are brand new to us in 2020, like touchless, contactless. Tell us what you're doing for cleaning, and remind your customers that in your salon or in your spa, they have their own space, right? I saw a video on social media the other day that was a tanning salon welcoming a customer back. And the purpose of the video was very simply to show your customer base how much space you have in a tanning salon, or how much space you have when you're using the Well System Relax. It was really informative, but I also thought so useful for all of your customers who are thinking about coming back, not sure if they're ready, to literally give them a peek under the covers to see what it will be like, whether you're standing behind an acrylic shield, whether you ever come in contact with them or not. There's great opportunities for you to be able to share that customer experience and do it in a real way. Make an appointment with TanLine, check in from your car, walk in, use contactless payment, and walk directly into a tanning room that's been fully cleaned and sanitized and ready to go. For some of you, you just want to be able to welcome customers back, and don't get me wrong, I am certainly not talking about fear-mongering or being afraid of what's going to happen next. I am, however, talking about being ready to address customers that are filling up the entire spectrum, from believing that the pandemic is a conspiracy to being quarantined for 6.5 months because they're afraid to leave the house. As a business owner, you have to address the full spectrum of attitudes and the full spectrum of feelings. You can't be all things to all people, but you certainly can help the general population that is concerned about either catching COVID or being exposed to it understand that in your salon or in your place of business, you have taken every precaution. We're also working hard to help you understand that you need more modalities that address this need for touchless, contactless, or technician-less services, right? 1 year ago, we would have never even considered that your massage membership or whatever, your facial membership, whatever it is that you have, you might drop that because there's a technician in the room. We're giving you lots of opportunities to be able to bring on value-added services that address this consumer concern and tag words that are going on right now. Modalities need to be individualized. Not only do they need to be individualized, but they also need to be fully cleaned and sanitized between every session, right? We know this. In fact, it was actually a really good refresher for us at JK to go through this process of education of properly cleaning and sanitizing equipment. I learned a few things. I learned that some people know it like the back of their hand. Some people know better than even we do how to clean and sanitize a bed. For other people, it was brand new information. Not brand new, everyone's cleaning their beds, but when it comes down to proper sanitization and proper cleaning methods, there was a lot to be learned. So it has really brought the level of professionalism in our industry forward even again. We also want to address customers' need for distance, right? We know that people are uncomfortable being too close to each other. Don't get me wrong, I crave those times when we can go back to restaurants, we can go back to socializing, going back to a happy hour. But right now, we need to know that we've got some space. Everybody is looking to have their own space and to not be crowded into any particular place. We really believe that tanning salons and spa and wellness businesses are perfectly positioned for this. They're perfectly positioned to address what we've already mentioned, which is COVID fatigue. We are all anxious, we're all exhausted, and we're all concerned about what's going to happen next. Consumer research tells us that people who have been isolated and inside for long periods of time, they're not feeling rested and relaxed from living in their jammies from the last 6 months. They are stressed and concerned because inputs are all very concerning, and all you're really doing is communicating through some sort of digital platform. We need connection. We need to be able to get out and also be able to have human interaction, but people need to know that you're prepared to facilitate that in a safe and distanced way. We're also learning that customers are even more willing to try new modalities. I can speak for myself and even my own group of friends who are really willing to say, we need sunlight. We need to try maybe red light for the first time. I'm open to halo therapy. I'm open to dry water massage. There's such a large array of open-mindedness happening in response to a health crisis. People are more and more aware of their own long-term health and wellness than they've ever been before, right? I mentioned yesterday that I myself had COVID back in June. And after 4 months of recovery, and I had very mild symptoms, I had an extremely easy time with it. But I know that I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm speaking for myself, and what it caused me to do was to reflect on a lifetime's worth of investment in health and wellness and fitness. It also reminded me that while I really like for my pants to fit, that's not actually why I'm doing what I'm doing over the long term from a health and wellness perspective. I'm doing it so that I can be prepared for the next free radical that enters my body, for the next virus that I'm exposed to. Many of you also know that I've traveled extensively throughout the world. I'm pretty sure that COVID is not the most dangerous thing that my body's been exposed to. But what it has made me realize is why we take this seriously over time. And that attitude is pervasive. You see it over and over and over again in news reports that while people might still be concerned about what's currently going on with the pandemic, they're looking forward to the future about how they're making investments in their wellness over time. We know that's happening from a mental health perspective as well as a physical health perspective. This is a good opportunity for you as a business owner to start addressing both, right? Give people an opportunity to have a 10 or 15-minute digital detox. Take a moment, take a break away from your phone. Take a break from a screen, right? We're spending 3 days intensively in front of a screen because we can't get together right now. We're not the only ones. There are literally times at the end of my day where I turn my computer off and I have been on screen for 8 or 9 hours at a time nonstop, while also checking emails at the same time, responding to texts at the same time. And this is how people are living their professional lives right now. It is intense. It doesn't matter if you're in your pajamas or not. Mentally, you are exhausted. You have a great opportunity to address that level of exhaustion, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes before you start your tanning session. We're working to help you create revenue even out of your wait times because people need a break. That being said, you also have the opportunity to introduce new modalities that your customer base might not have been interested in the past, or might not have been motivated from a wellness perspective to try. Not only has it pushed us out into a space to take some risks and try new things, but your customers are willing to do the same thing. That's why skincare product sales are absolutely going through the roof right now, because we're willing to try anything to make ourselves feel better at home. And when customers go out, they're looking for the same thing from you. And so you show up not only as an informed, but an expert in the field when you say, listen, we know you're concerned about health and wellness right now. We know that you are fatigued and exhausted by thoughts about the future. Let me tell you how you can address that today with a session in halo therapy, or how you can take 15 minutes for yourself today on the Well System Relax or even the Beauty Angel. And I promise you, it's not just a sales pitch. When we're talking about going through and looking at your business model from a creative perspective, we are of the generation, and millennials and even younger are of the generation, that we want to be efficient with our time. Gone are the days where you take a Saturday and run 15 errands and stay in your car all day long, right? We're doing all of those errands from our cell phones. If you want to get us out of the house and get us into your brick and mortar location, we want to know that our time is valuable to you and it's also going to be efficient. I can do more than one thing that I really want to do in one space, right? I don't have to go from tanning salon to massage spa to facialist to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, or to the gym for a sauna, or to a fitness location, or maybe a new wellness location. All of these different places for modalities that you can bring together in one space. Value is key. It's incredibly important for the investments that you make to be perceived as high level in value, as well as valuable for your customers' time. If you've been in the industry long, you know that we've tried lots of different things to add to our service menu. Some of them great, some of them not so great. Some of them kind of fall by the wayside, like teeth whitening and others. Others are pervasive and hold on over time, like red light and auto spray. What we're working hard to do, and what we encourage you to do, is look for those value add-ons that are quality. They bring the level of professionalism and expertise up in your salon and are not just another thing that you throw against the wall to try and get customers to respond. Also, have informed interactions with your customers. Don't pretend like they're not scared. Don't pretend like they're not concerned, right? We have to be more transparent, not only in our communications with our customers, but also in our communications with our employees as well. 2020 has been a year where you can't ignore what's going on. And while we all might have personal feelings about everything from the pandemic to politics to the election to voting, you name it, there's an opinion for every topic out there. It's your job as a business owner to make customers trust, to gain customers' trust from an expertise perspective, as well as make them feel safe and like you're thinking through the process for them. When we started creating response tools for the COVID-19 pandemic way back in March, I challenged our entire staff to put themselves in the shoes of a business owner, put themselves in that position, not just of what message do we want to get out there, but what message do business owners need to hear? What do they need to know? We're trying to solve very basic problems here. We're up against obstacles that you might have never faced before in your business, and your customer is in the exact same place. I challenge you to put yourself in the shoes of your customer. If you have not, as a consumer, walked into your business, signed up for a session, and gone all the way through the customer process in a while, experiencing your own customer journey is incredibly important right now. Do that for yourself. Don't make assumptions about what your customers are feeling when they come back to your place of business. Walk through the process on your own. You're better than anyone to look for holes in that journey, and we've been pushed to go back to the drawing board and do the same thing. So what else can you do? We know that in the long term, this is an opportunity to create real and transformational change, not only in our industry, but in the minds of our consumers. If you've been watching the news, or if you've been watching any of the news reports coming out over the last 6 months, even in print form, you know that there has not been a better time in the last decade for vitamin D to be getting great press. We've gotten better reports and better scientific information published in the last 6 to 9 months about the benefits of sunlight and the benefits of vitamin D than I think in the last decade combined. Why? Because we know we're not healthier people from living under a rock for 9 months. None of us are in a better state physically or mentally from hiding from the sun, hiding from our friends, or hiding from society as a whole. That's not a political statement. Everyone is looking for a way to reinforce their immune systems right now, and everyone is looking for a way to reinforce their own mental health and well-being. I've also added resources about that same topic to the resource list that's going to be posted later today. that will help you be able to communicate with your customers as well. Vitamin D boosts the effects of immunity. It boosts the effects of your own body being able to fight off viruses and fight off sicknesses. And people are more open to that conversation than they've ever been before. This is the first time in my tenure at JK that I have ever seen positive reports on mainstream media as well as social media about the benefits of sunlight and vitamin D. And that's creating a long-term shift in perspective, not only for our industry, but a huge open door for us to walk through to be able to address those types of concerns out there in the marketplace. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and it's one of those things, especially when I was traveling, that I could go through an audiobook a week. And I heard something this week that really hit home with me, and I'd like to share it with you. It talks about transformational change. None of us are going through change that we would have chosen if we had had the choice this year. As leaders and as business owners, none of us are creating new and exciting experiences. We are really having to work with what we have left and the information that's available. Like I said, none of us would have chosen this if we could have avoided it. But here we are. It's our job to figure out how to move not only our businesses forward, but the industry forward as well. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about something as simple as a seed. For a seed to be productive, for a seed to be able to give forth life, what does it have to do first? First, it has to die. After it dies, it has to be buried. And after it's buried, it literally has to break forth out of its comfort zone to be able to spring forth new life, right? We may not have ever chosen to go through this transformation in 2020. We may not have ever chosen to be planted or buried in the soil that we're in right now, but we have a huge opportunity to push out of our comfort zones and to start taking risks into a true space of transformational change. Our customers are ready. They're ready to hear those messages from us. They're ready to hear us respond to not only their concerns, but also their long-term willingness to invest in health and wellness. So I encourage you to look for the silver linings. We're going to talk a little bit more about that during the panel discussion this afternoon, as well as tomorrow in our business school, right? We're looking for the opportunities to position your business for the next 10 years that are going to come out of the lessons we've learned in 2020. Leaders that have taken lessons to heart in 2020 will come out more equipped than ever to drive your business forward. Because seriously, guys, what have we not had to deal with this year? Nothing is surprising anymore. We will be the calmest group of business leaders that ever existed because we're not surprised by anything. I did have a poll put up while I was up here, and I want to talk a little bit about this word cloud, because even the words that I'm seeing on the screen right now are encouraging to me and should be encouraging to each one of you while you're on this webinar with us. So it was a simple question. What's the most important thing you've learned in 2020? And I see things like perseverance, resiliency, patience. Isn't that the truth? Being patient and also uncomfortable. We have no ability anymore to be uncomfortable and to sit with it. And as leaders, that's exactly what we're being asked to do. And we're being asked to lead others through that process of discomfort and transformational change and learning and growth. To be thankful. You're absolutely right. I saw a quote the other day that said, 2020 isn't the year to go after what you've always wanted. It's to be thankful for what you already have. And isn't that the truth? Thankful for our homes, thankful for a safe space, thankful for food on the table, thankful for our businesses that have given us the opportunity to really push forward into the next level. And finally, how to adapt to change. That really is our goal here at JK, not only to be the world's #1 provider of indoor tanning equipment and wellness equipment, but to partner with you throughout this process of transformation in 2020 and to come out on the other side, widening the gap between you and your competitors, widening the gap between you and the naysayers moving forward, because you were a business leader who was willing to lead forward and willing to take a chance on something new for your customer base. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break before we come back with our live panel discussion. I hope that's given you a few sparks of inspiration and some questions available on your mind. I'm going to be moderating and probably refereeing our virtual discussion coming up in about an hour. Go take a break, grab some coffee, and we'll see you back here in 10 minutes.